You are listening to the Global CTE Podcast with your host, Sylvester Chisom.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Global CTE Podcast. I am your host, Sylvester Chisom. This is the place and the space where we want to wrap a blanket of goodwill around the CTE community and share the brightest, the winners, the people who are really making a difference, a big impact on students' lives and preparing them for success in the global marketplace. Today, we are in for a unique and special treat. I have Captain Aaron Singh here and his entire class from the New York Harbor School of Governors Island. Listen, okay, let me tell you about Captain Singh, okay? So Captain Singh has been sailing for the last 25 years on a wide variety of tall ships. He joined the teaching staff at the New York Harbor School of Governors Island and created a 3-year New York State Certified Maritime Career and Tech Education program for vessel operations. The program offers hands-on practical training in one of the busiest harbors in the United States. Many students enter the workforce on commercial vessels or choose to attend a maritime college, often pursuing seagoing careers. And today, I'm super excited. I have the sophomore vessel operations class here with us today. Aaron and the class, hey, welcome to the show, guys.
Sylvester, thanks for having us on. We're super excited to talk a little bit about our programs here.
Man, I love it. This is a first. I want everyone to know who's watching. This is the first time we've had an educator who's so passionate that he brought the entire class with him. So I love it, and I want to learn, and hopefully our audience can learn from you all in terms of the cool stuff you guys are doing. So let's jump right into it. I want to know. Tell me more about the program. What's happening here in this vessel operations class? Whoever goes first, please introduce yourself. And then go ahead and tell us.
Okay, I'll set it up. Just a couple of things though. Their period's gonna end in around 20 minutes, just to give you a heads up. So we'll give them a little tour, and then you might see them gradually leave out. So we have Asher and Andrea here. They're our sophomores in our program, and they're gonna tell you a little bit about what their experiences are. But just to give you a heads up, the Harbor School is located on Governors Island in New York City. And so we're a maritime school that has 8 programs of study, from professional diving, marine policy, ocean engineering, vessel ops is just one of them. And so the students that are in our programs are there 3 years. At the end, they get industry credentials and they get a college acceptance. And so many choose to go into those career paths, as we mentioned. So I'm going to let Asher and Andrea talk a little bit about what equipment we use in the program and their experiences. So go ahead.
I'm Asher. I'm in the 10th group.
Hi, I'm Andrea, and we're sophomores in the vessel operations class.
So what we're standing here, right here, is our simulator. We use this for many different reasons. For example, we can use these for practice for our certain certifications, such as USA Boaters, which we just finished taking today. What that helps us do is, once we get into a maritime career, it's basically something that certifies us that we're okay to safely manage a boat using like basic seamanship. So what we're standing near right here is this New York Harbor. That's our B&B. We use a simulator for many different reasons. For example, our sophomore class, we use this for practicing our different type of crossings for a boat. For example, we have a meeting situation, a head-to-head situation, and an overtaking situation. This basically helps us, gives us a little taste of what the maritime industry is, because we just started. Junior year, you'll start to get something closer to navigation. So we'll get to different channels. So we'll have New York, and we'll have LA. We'll have many different other channels, and that helps us. We basically focus on our navigation side.
I just want to point out, just so you know, Andrea just backed this 250-foot boat out of a slip at Lower End Manhattan. And so if you take a look at these skills there for our students, that they're able to learn how to apply navigation, safety, boat handling. And so they learn in these simulators, but they also apply it, right? You guys we have our students work on our actually operation vessels. So why don't we go out back over here? We have a couple other folks to talk a little bit about what we do on the underway side. So
Aaron, before you pass it off, I want to clarify something. Did I hear correctly that these students are sophomores and they will already have a certification that they've completed for the maritime industry?
Absolutely. So there's 6 semesters of our program. The first semester is basic seamanship. So they actually get the New York State Safe Boating Course certificate. So we give them that. Gets them familiarized with the navigation rules, safety. So they get that card. But that's one of around 7 certifications they'll get over a course of those 6 semesters. And so, it's quite a buildup. So the sophomores that are here are just starting off in our program.
Man, that's awesome, man. Congrats to you all, man. I'm super happy and excited for you all. Okay, let's keep it going.
All right, so we got Taisha and Rita. They'll talk a little bit about some of our underway stuff because we actually leave this room and actually do a lot of our field work.
Hi, I'm Rita. Hi, I'm Taisha. And basically what we do is we have 7 boats, and at least once or twice a week, we go out and we operate these vessels. We learn how to handle lines, how to work as a crew together. And just yesterday, we did a man overboard drill where we threw a dummy overboard and successfully, as a team, we got the dummy out of the water.
Throughout this, we also learned how to tie knots and also learned how to use certain equipment such as fire extinguishers on the boats in case something happens, such as when, in case, let's say our boat ND, an old Navy launcher in World War II, if she ever is on fire, we know what to do in such case, where we know where the fire extinguishers are, what to do in case we need to evacuate, and what to do in case there is an emergency and we are on the water.
Awesome. Hey, so if you guys take a look right over here, the simulator that they were using, this is actually the view. So we got the Brooklyn Bridge right back there. Wow. So our students are actually doing work inside this classroom, but then they go out on the water, like they mentioned, to do training in New York Harbor. So right now we have these vessels that the students are able to apply practically the skills that they get in the classroom, which is pretty amazing.
Yo, that's so cool. Hold on. Now, did I hear the man over drill was a simulation, or you all actually did that out on the water?
Did we simulate it, or did we actually do it?
We actually did it. We went out on the water.
Hold on. I was not expecting that. Okay, so you all you actually had to save someone in the water. You guys really got out there and hands-on with it. Tell me about that experience. I want to hear give me some, what was that like?
So basically, we have this dummy named Oscar.
Okay.
And actually looking it's this real life looking doll that we throw in the water. So we were near the coast, basically. We were able to throw him over. We were learning the correct ways of retrieving him and hoping to do it in a timely manner. So that way, instead of him drowning, we would actually have to save him. But there were certain things that went amiss, but it's the first time, so it was practice, and it was good that we at least were able to acknowledge that we messed up in certain cases. But it was a good way to experience, kind of like, because we had the issue of we did not throw a life ring, and we were supposed to, and we missed that by accident, but we still were able to keep communication, and we were able to also keep our eye on Oscar because of how much movement there is in the water. It was really, there has to be such a continuous there has to be such a continuous mark on him. So we were able to contain that, and I think as a class for first time, it was going really smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, the safety drills that we do are the ones that industry has. So the vessels that we operate are Coast Guard inspected vessels. We have U.S. Coast Guard inspected, captains that are on board. And so the training that they receive here is just the same type of training that any passenger vessel, any vessel in the industry goes through, which is heavily with being able to respond to any emergency that happens on the boat. And that's what's the coolest part about them as sophomores, is they're able to see and debrief and problem solve on the best way to kind of approach any situation that happens on the water.
That's so cool. I want to get a student perspective on something. I'm hearing a lot of learning by doing, and you guys are this is just your normal everyday interaction. But I want you to know a lot of schools are not experiencing such hands-on activity. So I'm just curious, from a student perspective, somebody tell me, and I want you to do this from the perspective of you're talking to other educators. Tell them why it's so important to incorporate learning by doing, giving students the opportunity to really get their hands dirty, to experience something, because it makes learning more fun or exciting. Anybody want to take a shot at sharing why that's important?
Yeah, I think it's very important because not only are kids more interactive with what they're learning, not only do they want to be there more and are more into the curriculum, but it also makes them remember the curriculum more. So a lot of classwork that we have is just a bunch of papers and tests and memorizing. And we have a lot of classes like that where we do learn, but we often forget or don't care as much. But hands-on learning really gives us an opportunity to not only be into what we're doing, but remember it and have that primary response and have that like muscle memory and like really learn in a real way. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a great answer. Anybody else who has not spoken want to add to that? Because I want to reinforce this message. Anybody else want to add, talk about an experience of learning by doing that they thought was cool?
Yeah, you shouldn't be shy about this question, because what he's asking for is, would you rather me stand in front of the board and talk to you? Yes or no? Raise your hands. No. So right now, why do you love what we do? So Jack, you want to go ahead nice and loud with Jack?
So most high school kids, they don't actually get to go in the water. They mostly just sit in classrooms all day. I think it's a whole different experience that you actually have a high school that's on an island. You have to take a boat to school every day, actually be able to go in the water, get to experience more hands-on things that most high school kids don't. It's a whole change of pace than other kids would do. I mean, you don't really see kids on the water that are teenagers.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that insight and perspective. Anybody else want to chime in on that one?
Hey, Jerry.
To go back into what Jack said, it's also the fact that not many high schools can say that they specialize in the maritime industry itself, which is an interesting fact because it's not specifically vessel operations that the school also does, as they have multiple CTE programs. And it's more of like hands-on experience, like Rita had mentioned. So it's not like you're going to get bored of it, as normal schools would have you sitting in front of a board. It's like it's not the correct way that some people learn, as some people have more struggles learning. If you're just talking in front of a board, they get tired. They don't want to hear that. They want more experience, like in the field.
I couldn't say that's amazing.
Yeah.
Preach on. Round of applause for the journey.
No, I mean, I really want it, because what you all are doing is a great shining example of that, and we need more of that. And normally I'm talking just in transparency, I'm talking to a lot of educators. So like, this is an awesome experience for the podcast, to have this student perspective. So I really appreciate you all sharing and highlighting that deep insight. Right. Aaron, tell me like something, man. Why is this important? Like, why is this important? Why is this work important to you?
Well, I'll tell you, when I started getting involved with this school, it was actually back in 2002. I was working for an organization called South Street Seaport Museum. And we were a maritime organization. We're located in New York Harbor. And one of the biggest things that, hooked me was that there weren't a lot of folks that were diverse that were in this industry. My family grew up in Trinidad. Lots of island folks, and we're water folks, but in New York City, it wasn't reflective. And so I've been working on the water for the last 30 years, and that was a big push. So the school started back in 2002 to introduce the water, whether it be science or tech, to New York City youth. And so since 2002, I know I've been passionate about it, and I think everybody around us is passionate to introduce these career paths. There's a statistic in New York, Economic Development Corporation, which promotes business and training and development within New York City. They did a study and found that 98% of all workers on the water in New York City are white Caucasian. Less than 2% are female, and I think that's something that we've kind of hooked into. So the school's coming up on 20 years, and we've been pushing that bar. So we have got graduates. If you go into New York Harbor right now, you're going to see a Harbor School grad that is operating an NYC ferry or operating a water taxi or going to SUNY Maritime, and they're sailing ocean vessels, and they're scientists and they're welders. And I think that's what we're looking at. This is something that's getting folks excited, but if you take a look at these group of the young people, not all of them are going to go into maritime. So they're using this to get excited about education, right? The work that they do with navigation, they're learning algebra and pre-calculus. They're applying that to the academic side. And, maybe when they're a senior, they have those options because they will have the certifications to go into the industry if they choose, or maybe they'll do it more on a personal side. Maybe they'll do boating for fun. So our job is to be able to give those tools and get them inspired.
That's so powerful. I appreciate you speaking to the diversity standpoint and trying to be more inclusive in providing those opportunities. Can you talk to me more, and maybe if you can get the students involved in this part, talk to me more about the maritime careers that are waiting for these young people when they graduate high school or when they get these certifications. Talk to me about that.
Well, so this group over here is in a sophomore program. So this is their second semester. This course is called Introduction to Maritime Careers. So they're learning about the shipping industry. They're learning about passenger vessels. They're learning about the policies that encompass business and, why, how the U.S. Depends on maritime. So they're getting that foundation. And I think actually out of this group, all of them have this interest because you see it in their faces when they're on the water. But it'll be interesting to, does anybody want to actually, raise a hand, say if they have any interests that, that they've been thinking about, something that they've seen in the class that, they might be going into a field that's on the water. Anybody want to share out with that? Because I love boats. And our goal is to get other people motivated by that. Yeah. Caleb?
Yeah. And before Caleb goes, I do want to share. I had the chance to have some firsthand insight. I actually got a chance to visit the Panama Canal and to be on the deck as those massive ships were coming through, and they were just talking about how much how much commerce comes through there in terms of the cargo is really important. And I think sometimes people as consumers, we don't fully understand the power and the necessity. You think these items just show up in the store or, but this is a really big deal. So go ahead, Caleb, talk to me, man. Tell me about some careers.
So we have tugboat captains, which which are captains of tugboats to help bring in ships into the harbor, but also do barge work and bring oil barges to ships.
Awesome. That's cool. Are any of those stand out or get you excited? I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm interested. Tugboat captain.
Okay. I love it. Anybody else?
I'll talk a little bit more. So there is ferry captains, which are people who captain ferries that mostly go from one part of a city to another part of the city.
Okay.
Pass it to Tyler. Tyler wants to say something.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so I've always wanted to operate the NYC ferry. I've always wanted to operate something like that. So this program really gives me the best opportunity of actually achieving that goal, maybe someday in the future. And if not, it at least gives me everything I need to maybe start my own private business or a boating industry. and it just gives me everything I need and I require to do that for myself.
Hey,
Can you talk? Go ahead. Aaron.
Thanks, Tyler. So another cool thing, because that's where we always have stuff pop up here, is we have some alumni that work with our programs. So when you talk about going into the industry, if you take a look at these gentlemen right over here.
Yeah, talk to me. Don't be shy. Come on in here. I want to hear it.
So these are all licensed. They're all licensed captains that have been working in the industry for a couple of years. And I think that's what makes our programs powerful, is that these young people are not just talking to me, right? So our graduates are the ones that make it real for them. So, these folks were sitting in those chairs, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe more than that for some. Can you guys just introduce yourselves? Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since graduating Harvard School. This is Sylvester. He's learning a little bit about what we do here.
How's it going? I'm Tim Morrison. I graduated in 2020. I went to Kingsborough for 2 years for the Maritime program. And then I've been at Classic Harbor Line, which is a touring boat, doing charters back and forth. I started as a line catcher when I was 17. Aaron got me the job there. And then kind of just been making my way up, became a first mate there, and just got my license now. So
he just got his captain's license just now.
6 years I've been there.
Let's show Tim some love. I know I'm not there. Let's show Tim some love. I love it, man. Congrats, bro. Congrats. Yeah.
All right, so we got Mark over here.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Mark Melendez. I graduated Harvard School in 2012, and as soon as I graduated Harvard School, I just jumped on traditional sailboats, did a bunch of offshore stuff, sailed around the world for a couple of years, and now I actually work with BOP and Harvard School as their waterfront manager, and with Aaron in the classroom.
Yeah, so just so you know, Billion Oyster Project is what makes this public school happen. So we're a regular public high school, so with boats and all the things that we do that's unique. And so we're part of this program that started off as a CTE class. It's to plant 1 billion oysters in New York Harbor, and this not-for-profit has spun off. It's doing ed programs in over 100 middle schools. Our students that are operating these boats are working with that project to plant oysters, try to plant 1 billion oysters in New York Harbor. And so Captain Mark is on staff through that initiative.
Wow. That's really, and tell me why that's important. The Oyster Project. Why is that important?
So oysters are super important, and not only do they taste nice. I mean, I don't know if you guys like oysters. No. I mean, some people don't like it; it don't look good. But just so you know, one oyster actually filters 60 gallons of water. And so if we actually plant, and our students are growing it. So downstairs is an aquaculture lab that they're growing these oysters in, right? And we're collecting shell. Billion Oyster Project collects shell, and we plant them in reefs. So if we're able to plant 1 billion oysters, that will cycle all of the water in New York Harbor every 3 days and filter it. So it's a natural filter.
I love it. Yeah, I knew you were going to speak to that sustainability piece. That's why I wanted to ask you that. That's awesome, man. Like you all are really doing some impressive work. I'm just really excited about this conversation today. Anything else, Aaron, you want to lift up or share?
I mean, I just want to promote, what we're doing is getting folks excited. I mean, a lot of this stuff is public partnerships, private partnerships with industry. It's unique, but, New York City is not unique to the water. And there's been lots of maritime schools starting up. They started up with Seattle. I saw that you had Tremaine Holloway out there, and it was really great. As we start to see this, the model of maritime, as you mentioned before, is so important, and having access to these jobs and these career paths is a big deal. We've been around 20 years, and I think what makes it powerful is the fact that the programs that we've done has produced graduates that kind of give back. So the one thing I would say is as we take a look at education, this is a call for our elected officials and a call for our policy folks, is to be able to increase the funding for Perkins funding, increase VITEA funding that allows us to be able to make these programs happen. And that's the biggest thing. We talk about workforce development, but all of these things, in order to make it relevant, it can't be solely on donations. We need to be able to get these students the right equipment. We need to be able to get them access to what industry has. Right now, I know for Maritime, we've been working a lot with the development of offshore wind, and New York State has been developing wind farms, and there's quite a bit of investment on that. And we're starting to see that there is going to be introduction to that to our program, which is amazing.
That's awesome. I love how you're tying it all in, the education representing the needs of the economy in the local area. That's powerful. You brought up Tremaine. I talked to Tremaine this morning. I told him I was interviewing you, so I said, hey, why don't you give me one? I'm going to let you have one question for Aaron. So this is from Tremaine Holloway. He's the founding principal of the Maritime High School in Seattle. So this was what he asked. He said, what advice would you give someone, in quotes, a founding principal who is interested in starting a school similar to yours? How should they approach this entrepreneurial education endeavor?
Well, I would say if there was one, I would say investment in graduates, right? So like Devere right here is a graduate of our program, and Devere has been in industry, and being able to get the right people to actually come in and do this topic, that's probably the biggest thing. Our successes with the school is that a lot of founding teachers stayed with the school. So from an administration side, we didn't have turnover, and the administrators really supported the CTE teachers to be able to develop programs, to figure out schedules, to figure out budgeting, and also figure out the next set of teachers to keep it sustainable. So Devere is in a student student apprentice program that the Department of Ed funds, and he is going to be the next, CTE teacher for this program. And I think that's what we need to think a little bit about, which is as in new programs that are developing, how do we keep it sustainable? How do we keep it going?
I love it. Wow. Thank you all, man. This has been such a deeply impactful episode. So many different insights from the classroom, from the harbor, from what you guys are doing, man. I love it. I want to ask last question, Aaron. What's your vision for the future of CTE?
Well, my vision in the CTE has been changing gears, obviously from vocational to career and tech ed. And I would say, I think the vision of CTE is going to make sure that we keep on moving towards academic integration to make these topics get kids excited about education. That's how we started at Harbor School. It wasn't because we were trying to, solely, get kids jobs on the water. We wanted to make education fun. We want to make it interesting. And how can we keep on adapting academics to this coursework to get people excited? So I would love, as we start to grow, within CTE is really focused on the idea of college ready and career ready. And that's what we're really talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you for your time today, class. I know you guys are going to get out of here shortly. Aaron, thank you so much for your time. If anyone who's listening wants to reach out to you, learn more about the work you're doing, please share how you would like for people to get in touch with you or direct them to where they should go.
Absolutely. So our class has a website. It's www.vesselops.com. And so you can go to this site. It's student maintained. It has blogs, posting, contact info. And then our Harbor School website, which is our school, is www.newyorkharborschool, all spelled out, .org. And so feel free to reach out. We always love to engage in conversation.
Awesome. Listen, if you enjoyed this episode, don't be selfish, share it with a friend. This was really learning by doing at its best, at its finest, deep insight shared by the students and Captain Aaron Singh. As I always say, until the next episode, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Peace.